Where did the COVID-19 virus come from? I think for most people, the answer is pretty clear: China. Whether or not the virus came from a Wuhan lab, that is another question for another day. However, if you were to ask a Chinese person in China or a Chinese who recently came out of China, you might get a very different answer. He or she would say that the US is guilty of this. And this is something most of the Chinese people really believe in. So how does the Chinese Communist government shift the blame so successfully? Well, at least it is very successful in China for argument's sake. What are some of the propaganda techniques they've deployed? You will find out in today's program. Welcome to Beyond the News, I'm Faye. Recently, the CCP launched a new wave of propaganda attacks on America on the issue of the COVID origin. On the 1st of August, the Chinese mouthpiece People's Daily published an article saying that the US is using the investigation into the COVID origin as a political tool to attack China. The article is quoting a Swiss biologist named Wilson Edwards. It claims that Edwards was saying on his Facebook account that in the past 6 months, the WHO is facing menace pressure from the US, and the US is trying to use it as a political tool to attack China. This article has been quoted by many publications in China, and it has been used as evidence that the virus originated from the US. However, the story soon had a dramatic turn. On Tuesday, the Embassy of Switzerland in Beijing issued a statement saying that the whole thing about Wilson Edwards is fake. First, there isn't any citizen in Switzerland named Wilson Edwards. Secondly, there are no academic articles in the biology field cited under this name. Thirdly, the Facebook account cited in the People's Daily article was created a week before the article was published. This Facebook account had got only one post and 3 friends. So, in another word, People's Daily was faking a Facebook account in order to publish a false information about the origin of the COVID virus and using that to brainwash people in China. They didn't even put the effort to make the account look more authentic. Apart from that, the CCP is also trying to influence people in the West as well. Heyman Capital Management Chief Investment Officer Kyle Bass shared a screenshot of an ad. The ad was for finding a TikTok video creator to create 5 videos about COVID conspiracy theory. The creator needs to be dressed as a doctor and to make it as believable as possible. The creator will be paid £100. I have to admit, such propaganda tactics from the CCP are pretty successful. Right now, there are many Chinese people in China believing the virus originated from the US. Let's first examine the 2 main allegations, or the so-called evidence, that is supposed to prove the theory. The first is the closure of Fort Detrick in the United States. And the second is the Event 201 conducted by Johns Hopkins University and the Gates Foundation. The closure of the Fort Detrick was pretty simple. It was because an isolated laboratory was closed for a short period of time due to potential safety hazards. It is very common in the US. The US has strict safety inspections. If there is a problem in the lab will be closed. Seems reasonable to me. But the Communist China has made up their own story using the closure of Fort Detrick and saying that the pandemic came from the US. The only materials I could find online about this are all in Chinese, not surprising. So there really isn't enough evidence or indirect evidence to support this allegation. The second allegation is the Event 201 pandemic exercise. It is a public exercise open to the media, officially carried out on October 15, 2019. Though it is only 3 days away from the Wuhan military games, it is a pre-scheduled event. And this was only a tabletop exercise, a science fiction-like deduction, not an actual physical combat exercise like what was in Wuhan. Actually, it was a simulated SARS event, more like a computer game to me. It pretended the coronavirus infects pigs and then people, starting from a pig farm in Brazil, then went to South America, then traveled to the US, China, and finally expanded to the whole world. This exercise was jointly conducted by Johns Hopkins University and the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Foundation. Because that was just a deduction, there was no other event that can be connected to the real pandemic, so it can't prove anything though. Moreover, the WHO has also conducted similar simulations in the past, but reports are unavailable now. Maybe WHO doesn't want it to be used by the CCP to start another propaganda campaign. Maybe. So as we've just discussed, these two pieces of evidence the CCP used to justify their allegation about the virus originated from the US are not really proper, not even for made in China kind of quality evidence. Then why do people in China still believe in that? The first reason is there is no alternative source of information in China, except news sent out by CCP's mouthpieces. All the people in China can see is the one-sided, slanted propaganda. On top of that, authoritative figures like doctors, government officials, and foreign affairs spokespersons are all saying the same thing in China. To quote the Nazi propagandist Joseph Goebbels, repeat a lie often enough and it becomes the truth. Imagine that you're living in such an environment. It will be very hard to maintain a sober mind under such constant propaganda, not to mention that no alternative real news is available. There is also a propaganda technique deployed here. Accuse your enemy of something you did. To quote the famous Chinese strategist Sun Tzu, attacking is the best form of defense. This may seem a bit counterintuitive, but let's use the COVID origin as an example. If America doesn't engage in the attack, the CCP would accuse that the US is hiding something. That's why they don't want to engage, thus solidifying their propaganda in China. If the US did engage in the propaganda war with China, then a part of the attention will be diverted away from China to the US. The CCP has successfully muddied the water, creating doubts in people's heads. I have to admit, this is a successful tactic. Now, let's ask a different question. Why is the CCP doing this? I think it is because of an announcement that Biden made in May. On May 26 this year, the Biden administration required intelligence agencies to submit a report on the origin of COVID-19 within 90 days. There are still 20 days left. According to information leaked from various people, what's in this report will be damning for the CCP. The CCP is obviously quite nervous about the information that the US has already obtained. Moreover, even the WHO and its head Tedros seems to support countries in the world to hold CCP accountable. So the CCP has taken a preemptive action. The intensity and scope of this wave of propaganda sets new records in the CCP's propaganda history. It was initiated by the speech of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Zhao Liqian a few days ago. But what's interesting is that this time they even used foreign faces to launch an online promotion, trying to be more convincing. While other countries are looking for evidence and asking for investigation, the Chinese Communist Party has decided to buy Westerners to make up stories. The real traceability report does not require a publicity-offensive propaganda. What do you want to say about CCP's tactics in this new wave of propaganda on faking the COVID origin? Leave me a comment below. Alright, that's all for today. If you liked the video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. Thank you for watching Beyond the News. I'm Faye. I'll see you again very soon.